Good morning. It's a humid day here in Pennsylvania and it's a big day. I'm getting ready to Sikaflex the canopy. I wanted to give a step-by-step video because I haven't found one yet. A lot of good information on the internet, kit planes and various builder logs about how they did each step, and I guarantee, would definitely recommend reading all of those, watching all of those as much as you can. But I didn't see a video anywhere along the way, so I wanted to make a video that will go step by step through the process. Behind me is the canopy, which is fully cut, polished, and ready to go. It's masked off, and you can figure out how to do all that stuff on your own or by watching the other stuff. Ask questions if you need. The frame is behind me, and that is completely bent to where I want it. I've clamped the canopy on so that the flex will be apparent and everything slides and fits perfect. That's the way I want it. Don't do this step before you get that fitted properly. It is a real pain, but take your time and get the frame set properly first, because once you bond this to the frame, you're not going to be able to tweak anything afterwards. It's going to be solid. So clamp it on and make sure that it doesn't have any spring back that's going to cause you problems later on. The prep process has all been completed right up to the point where I'm ready to start adding the chemicals. So everything has been roughed here. I just used like a 320 fine sandpaper, light rub in between the tape. There's 2 layers of tape on the canopy and 1 layer of tape on the frame. And the reason that is after the activator goes on, which is very runny, and the primer gets painted on, which dries fairly fast, I'm going to peel 1 layer of tape off here, and I'm going to peel all the tape off the frame. And the reason is when I actually put the Sikaflex stuff down on the frame itself and squish it together, nothing that isn't primed, it won't stick to. So you don't need to worry about that. But on here, you don't want to have primer up on the edges of your tape. Get the Sika all squeegeed out and then have it sticking to your tape. So prime it, activate it first, then prime it, peel 1 layer of tape off the canopy, and I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and do it. Simply using a damp microfiber towel to wipe all the surfaces down. Don't want any finger oil or dust or dirt or anything in here. And then I'll use the other side and dry it off good. Make sure we don't have any water there. Lots of warnings on these labels, so I've got my PPE ready to go. I'm just going to open the activator up. It's sealed internally, and then I'll put this stuff on. And I hear that it is very smeary, very viscous, liquidy stuff. So we want to be very careful when we're applying this because it will go everywhere. That's one of the main reasons for the tape. And here we go. Just to let you know, it goes on wet, a little bit of a damp cloth, and it looks to me like it's drying just a little bit with maybe a cloudy surface to let you know you got all the areas covered. I'm going to do the frame now. Okay, the activator's dry. Next comes the primer. It has a rattle can in it, or rattle ball in it. So we're going to shake it up real good, crack it open, and I have a small yogurt container that I cut down so I can pour a little bit in and dip my paintbrush in. Okay, so the primer's on. Don't forget to start your timer. You got 2 hours once the primer's put down to get the Sika on, or you're gonna have to reactivate it and possibly reprime again. I haven't read that far into the instructions. But this is really a no-brainer. That went on very easily. It dries very fast, so don't pour too much in your little container as you're painting it on. Everything's done on the frame. I'm gonna let that tack good until it's almost I can't mess it up with my fingerprints and so forth. And then I'm going to peel off this layer of tape that will give me a primer-free surface to put the Sika down and peel off all this tape on the bottom because there's no sense in having it there. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes since I put the primer down. I peeled the sacrificial layer of tape off. I'll show you a close-up of that here in just a second. I've snipped the tube off, or the end of the tube for the Sikaflex, and I'm ready to start laying some beads down. Like I said before, I'm going to start on the canopy frame, just the top spine, if you will, a little bit out on the front and back bow. Then I'll get a helper to set it down on here, and I'll pick the video up from there. Just so you know, the activator, I used maybe 10% of that bottle, very small amount of that on the paper towel, and the primer maybe a little less than a third of the primer. So 1 bottle of activator, 1 bottle of primer should be plenty. The Sika starts to cure as soon as you open it, so I'm going to pierce the tube here in just a second. From what I read, it cures because of moisture in the air. So what I'm going to do to try and lengthen my working time on it is as soon as I'm done squirting it, I have a big Ziploc bag. I'm going to seal the whole gun, everything inside a big Ziploc bag. And hopefully within the next hour or two, I'll be done with everything that I need. This tube will then be cured. It'll go in the trash, whatever I didn't use. I'll have the second tube to go along and finish up the rest of the fillet, they call, along the edge. And that'll be done a couple days from now once everything's cured. So here we go. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm doing this in the right order, but I do have the Sikaflex all applied to the canopy. It is clamped down, so that should be fairly bonded. Now I'm ready to do my side skirts. Not the skirts, but the canopy supports. They'll go in here like so, and I'll cleco those in place. I'm going to put a bead of Sikaflex right along this edge and this edge, and then I'm going to clamp it in place. We'll see how that works out. Okay, that idea worked fairly well. There's the supports along the side. Here's a close-up of the bead as it's squishing down. A couple little air spaces, which is just fine. We're going to come back in and fill that bead with a nice fillet, and I'll even that out with a popsicle stick. And of my supplies, I used about half the tube of Sikaflex, so I have a whole tube left to do windshield and fillet. I am going to seal this plastic bag, tape it up. Maybe it'll still be good. The primer, like I said, I used maybe a third of the primer, so I got plenty of that. And the activator, I might have used a tenth of that. So supplies-wise, worked out really well. I hope this helped.